Very good morning to all. I hope you are doing great. I am also good. Very warm welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Reena and I am so happy to have you here. In today's class, we are going to talk about logical reasoning. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss in today's class. First topic we have understanding the structure of argument, argument forms, structure of categorical preposition. After that we have mood and figure, formal and informal fallacies, uses of language, connotation and denotations of term, classical square of opposition. After that we have evaluating and distinguishing deductive and inductive reasoning. After that we have next topic analogies. And next we have Venn diagram, simple and multiple use for establishing validity of argument. And after that we have Indian logic, means of knowledge. Next we have Pramana, Pratyaksha, which means the perception, and after that we have Anumana, which means the inference, and Upamana, which means the comparison. Next we have Sabda, which means verbal testimony, and after that we have Arthpati, which means implication, and Anupalabdhi, which means non-apprehension. After that we have structure and kinds of Anumana, Vyapti and Hetuvabhasa. So let's understand each and every topic one by one. First topic we have understanding the structure of arguments. Okay, so basically an argument is a set of statement where some premises support other conclusion. From refer to logical structure irrespective of the content. Okay, let's take an example. Premise 1 we have all humans are mortal, and second premise we have Socrates is a human. At the conclusion, therefore, the Socrates is mortal. So according to the definition, you can see here argument is a set of statement where some premises support another conclusion. Okay, so basically conclusion is based on premises. This is a deductive argument from called a syllogism. Next we have structure of categorical preposition. So basically these are the categories of preposition. Four standard forms which include the A, E, I, O. If we talk about the A type, which is universal affirmative, for example all S R P. And in case of E type, this is universal negative, no S and P. In case of this one, S is no and no P. Okay, this is the explanation of E, universal negative. Next we have I type, which is particular affirmative, some S are P. That means some S and some P. Next we have O type, which is a particular negative, some S are not P. Next we have mood and figures of categorical syllogism. Okay, so basically these are the mood, refers to the types of A, E, I, O of the preposition in the syllogism. Next we have figure. It refers to the position of the middle term in premises. For example, mood, AEE, which include the major is A and minor is E, and hence we have conclusion E. It depends on the placement of the term. Okay, and next we have the formal and informal fallacies. So basically formal fallacies, that means the flaws in the form or structure. For example, affirmating the consequent. This is very important. What is the meaning of formal fallacies? So basically formal fallacies is basically the flaws in the form or structure. For example, affirming the consequent, if A and A then B is true, therefore A is true. Next we have informal fallacies, which means the errors due to the content, meaning or misuse of language. For example, ad hominem, attacking the person instead of argument. Next we have uses of language. So language can be used three type. It may be used affirmative, and second it is expressive, and third one is directive. Informative, that means to convey the facts, to convey the ideas. And if we talk about the expressive, that means to show emotions. Next we have directive. So basically this language is used to command or influence actions. Next we have connotation and denotation. Connotation, that means the literal or dictionary meaning of any word. And next we have connotation, that means emotional or cultural association. For example, shake. Denotation, that means a reptile. And if we talk about the connotation, okay, here we are talk about emotional or cultural association with particular word. For example, danger, betrayal. Next we have classical square of opposition. So basically this shows the logical relations among A, E, I, O preposition. These are the types of universal, particular, affirmative and negative. These are the four type of syllogism. First one we have A type, and second we have E type, third we have I type and O type. So if we talk about the A, that means universal positive. And if we talk about the E type, that means universal negative. If we talk about the I, that means we talk about particular affirmative. And if we talk about O, that means particular negative. This is the logical relationship between these four types. First we have contradictory. Contradictory, these are the contradictory A, O and EI. That means cannot both be true or false together. Okay, if one is, for example, if let's take an example of A type, all A are B, and next we have the other one is O. This means no A are B. So these statement, these premises contradict with each other. So according to the this concept, this cannot both be true or false, because one A type says that all things are affirmative, universal, all are positive, but O says that particular things are negative. Next we have contrary. Contrary, that means A and E cannot both be true, but both can be false. Next we have subcontrary. That means I or O cannot both be false but can both be true. Next we have subalteration. A and I and EO. Truth flows downward and falsely upward. So basically this logical relationship is very very important for the exam point of view. So you have to remember this statement. Next we have deductive and inductive reasoning. So basically deductive reasoning is general to specific, and if premises are true, conclusion must be true. It used in maths and logic. For example, all mammals are warm blooded and whale is a mammal, hence whale is warm blooded. This is the conclusion of all the two premises. Next we have inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning, that means it is basically specific to journal and it is based on observation, conclusion is probable, and it is used in science. For example, sun rose today, it rose yesterday and the day before. So conclusion is, so the sun will rise tomorrow. These are also very very important. Deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. This one. This is very, very important for the exam point of view. What is deductive reasoning and what is inductive reasoning? So definition is very, very important. So what is deductive reasoning? It is basically general to specific, and if premises are true, conclusion must be true. And what is deductive reasoning? Basically it is specific to general, and it is basically based on observation, conclusion is probable. Next we have analogies. So basically analogy is comparing two things based on similarity. Okay, and this is the type 1. First we have verb. Hand is to glove as foot is to shock. Next we have logical. Just as fire need oxygen, engine need fuel. And next we have third type is numerical. And in numerical case, let's take an example 2:3 and 3:6. So here you can see the same answer of two ratios. When you cut this, then you get the answer 1/2 and 1/2. Used in reasoning test to evaluate pattern recognition and relationship. Next we have Venn diagram. So basically it is used for representing categorical logic visually. First we have simple use to show the relationship between two or three sets. Okay, for example, all A are B. So that means A is the subset of B. Next we have multiple use to test validity of syllogism by overlapping circles for all set involved. Next we have Indian logic. So basically these are the maze of knowledge, which we can call it pramanas. Indian epistemology defines the pramana as valid source of knowledge. So basically these are the 6 orthodox pramanas. So you have to remember these 6 orthodox pramanas. First we have pratyaksha, which means perception. Next we have anumana, which means inference. And third we have upamana, which means comparison. And fourth we have sabda, which means verbal testimony. Next we have arthpati, which means postulation and pre-assumption. Next we have anuplabdhi, which means non-perception, that means negative cognition. Okay, if we take an example of pratyaksha, for example, direct sensory experience. When you see anything, this is your pratyaksha. This is your knowledge that you get from the pratyaksha. Next we have anumana, for example, based on reasoning. Smoke is equal to fire. If there is a smoke, that means there must be a fire. Next we have upamana, that means knowledge through analogy and similarity. Next we have sabda, for example, word of trustworthy sources. For example, Vedas, scholars. Next we have arthpati, that means inferring something to explain another fact. Next we have anuplabdhi, for example, knowledge through absence. There is no pot here. Next we have structure and kinds of anumana, which means inference. Structure of anumana, that comes under the Nyaya system. Next we have, first we have pratinjana, which means preposition. For example, there is a fire on the hill. Next we have hetu, which means reason, because there is a smoke. Next we have udharana, for example, wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire, like in the kitchen. Next we have upanyaya, which means application. We talk about the application. Smoke is on the fire. Next we have nigmana, which means conclusion. Therefore fire is on the hill. So basically these are very, very important. This one, this question is asked in the exam as it is. So you have to remember this structure of anumana. Next we have types of anumana. First we have Purvas, that means from cause to effect. For example, cloud to rain. If we see cloud, then that means rain is happening after some time. Next we have Seswar, which means from effect to cause, flooded river and heavy rains. Next we have Vyapti, which means invariable concomitance. Vyapti is the universal relationship between the reason, hetu, and conclusion, which means sabdya. For inference to be valid, the hetu must always accompany the sabdya. For example, whenever there is a smoke, there is a fire, the connection between the Vyapti. This shows the Vyapti is there. It is established through observation and absence of exception. Next we have Hetuabhasa. These are the fallacies of inference. Hetuabhasa is equal to apparent reason and fallacy in argument. These are the types of Hetuabhasa. First we have Savya Vichara, that means irregular reason. For example, hetu not always associated with sabdya. Next we have Viruddha, that means contradictory reason. Hence, for example, hetu proves the opposite. Next we have Sat Pratipaksha, that means counterbalanced reason. For example, an opposite hetu exists. Next we have Asiddha, that means unproven reason. Hetu is not established or is false. Next we have Badita, that means contradictory reason. For example, hetu is contradicted by direct perception. This is the summary table of this topic. First we have argument structure, that means we talk about the premises, conclusion and syllogism. Next we have categorical preposition, which include the four type A type, E type, I type, O type forms. Next we have mood and figures, that means we talk about logical form in syllogism. If we talk about the fallacies, that means error in reasoning. Next topic we have uses of language, that means we use the three type of languages: informative, expressive as well as directive. Next we have connotation and denotation, that means literal versus associated meaning. Next we have classical logic, that means we talk about the squares, relationship among the categorical prepositions. Next we have deductive versus inductive, that means certain versus probable conclusion. We see here in the deductive and inductive. Next we have analogies, that means similarity based reasoning. Next we have Venn diagram, there we see the visual representation of logic. Next we have Indian logic, Paramanans. So basically there are 6 valid sources of knowledge. Next we have Anumana, where 5-part inferences included there. And next we have Vyapti, where universal relationship is there. Next we have Hetuabhasa, where we talk about the Indian fallacies. Okay, so let's understand these topics one by one. First we have understanding the structure of argument, so in which these are the subtopics that we covered in today's class. First we have argument form, second we have categorical preposition, mood and figure, formal fallacies, informal fallacies, uses of language, connotation and denotation, classical square of opposition. So first of all, we need to talk about the argument forms. So basically, argument consists of premises and a conclusion, can be deductive as well as inductive. For example, all men are mortal. And second premise we have Socrates is a man. And hence the conclusion is Socrates is mortal. Next we have categorical preposition, that means statement about the relationship between two categories, subject and predicate. For example, all dogs are mammals. Hence here you can see that this is the A type, universal affirmative type. Next we have mood and figures. Mood, that means the type of categorical statement. A type, E type, I type and O type. Next we have figure, which include the preposition of middle term in syllogism. Mood, that means A, E, E, and if we talk about the figure, this one is M, P and SM and SP. Next we have formal fallacies, that means error in structure of the argument. This is called formal fallacies. Next we have informal fallacies, that means error in reasoning due to language relevance or ambiguity. Next we have uses of language. It is basically three types: affirmative, informative, expressive or directive, impact, reasoning and logic. Next we have connotation and denotation. That means the denotation which include the literal meaning, and connotation which talk about the emotional and associative meaning. Next we have classical square of opposition, where we talk about the logical relationship between A, E, I, O preposition. Next we have deductive versus inductive reasoning. So if we talk about the deductive reasoning, that means general to specific. We talk about the general to specific. Okay, this one. Next we have inductive reasoning, that means we talk about the specific to general. Next we have analogies. So we have three type of analogies. First we have verbal analogy, second we have logical analogy and numerical analogy. Verbal analogy, that means relationship between two concept or object, for example hand, glove, food and shop. Next we have logical analogy, which means the similar logic applies to two different situations, that is logical analogy. For example, we see here the logic between the two things, fire and heat, bulb and light. Next we have numerical analogy, which means number pattern or mathematical relationship see between the two things. For example 2:4 and 3/5, 3/6. So here you can see the answer is same, 1/2, 1/2. Next we have Venn diagram. So basically there is two type of uses. First we use the simple type and second we use multiple. So in case of simple, that means represent relationship between two set, helps test validity. For example, all A are B, that means A is the subset of B. Next we have multiple use. So where more than two sets used, useful in complex syllogism. For example, all A are B, some B are C. So hence some A may be C. This is the conclusion of two premises. Next we have Indian logic. That means we talk about means of knowledge, paramanas. So basically we have six type of paramanas. First we have pratyaksha, that means we talk about the perception. For example, direct knowledge through senses. For example, seeing fire. Next we have anumana, which means inference. For example, indirect knowledge. For example, seeing smoke and come to the conclusion there should be a fire. Next we have apmana, which means comparison. For example, knowledge via analogy. For example, knowing what a deer is by comparing with a horse. Deer, deer होगा यहाँ पे. Next we have sabda, which means verbal testimony. For example, knowledge from words of a reliable source. For example, scriptures or expert. Next we have arthpati, which means postulation. We talk about the postulation here. For example, pre-assumption to explain another fact. For example, if a person is not seen eating but is gaining weight. So that means pre-assumed secret eating. That means he eat a lot. Hence its weight is increases. Next we have anuplapti, which means non-apprehension. For example, knowledge through a non-perception. For example, not seeing a book on the table, it is not there. Next we have anumana, which means inference in logic, in Indian logic. So we have 5 component of anumana. First we have pratinja, which means preposition. For example, there is a fire on the hill. Next we have hetu. Hetu talk about the reason because there is a smoke. Next we have udharana, which means example. And for example, whatever, wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire, like in the kitchen. Next we have upnaya, which means application, there is a smoke on the hill. Next we have nigmana, which means the conclusion, therefore there is a fire on the hill. Next we have kinds of anumana. So first we have purvas, and where we talk about the cause and effect. For example, cloud. When we see the cloud, that means we expect rain. Next we have seswat. That means we talk about the effect to cause. If we find the effect, then according to we can find out the cause of the problem. For example, flooded river shows that the cause of the problem. That means heavy rain. Next we have vyapti, which means we talk about the invariable relationship. Vyapti, that means universal unconditional relation between hetu and shabdya, which means conclusion. For example, wherever there is a smoke, there is a fire. Next we have hetuabhasa, fallacies of inference. First we have savvichara, that means irregular reason. Hetu does not always lead to conclusion. For example, mountain has fire because it has trees. So tree is not equal to fire. So you can see there is a irregular reason. Next we have viruddha. That means we talk about the contradictory reason. For example, hetu lead to opposite of the conclusion. For example, there is fire because it is cold. Next we have satprati paksha, which means counterbalanced reason. An equal and opposite reason exist. For example, it has fire due to smoke versus it has no fire because it is raining. Next we have asita, that means we talk about unproven reason. For example, hetu itself is unestablished. For example, the sky lotus has fragrance because it's a lotus. So in practically sky lotus does not exist practically. Next we have badita, that means contradicted by perception. Hetu contradicted by direct perception. For example, fire is cool because it is moonlight, but fire is not hot. So that is all about for the today's class. Thank you so much. If you like this video, then do like and subscribe my YouTube channel. Bye bye. Take care. Keep learning. Keep learning.